Hello and welcome to today's session on Corporate Risk Management Quantitative Techniques. I am Dr. Maruf Ahmed Mir, PhD in Financial Markets and MBA in Finance and Accounts from AMU Aligarh. And at present, I am associated with Asian Business School, Noida as Associate Professor in Finance and Accounts. Dear students, let's start with the introduction to Corporate Risk Management Process Quantitative Techniques. The first such is Monte Carlo simulation. This technique derives its name from its association with chance or uncertain situation, and it is used for the random numbers to simulate their consequences. Simulation is an art and science of designing a model which behaves in the same way as a real system. The model is used to determine how the system reacts to different inputs. 4 important steps are required as follows. Number 1, assign a probability distribution to each variable which affects the IRR or NPV. Number 2, assign the range of variation of each variable. Number 3, select a value for each variable within its specific range. This is done in such a way that the frequency with which any value is selected corresponds to its probability in the distribution. Step number 4, carry out a deterministic analysis with the input values selected from their specified distribution in random combinations. Each time a new value is generated for each variable, a new combination is obtained, hence a new deterministic analysis is done. This is repeated several times to obtain a result. The number of combinations of probability distribution required is usually between 200 to 1000. The greater the number of iterations used will result in increasing accuracy. Another technique is sensitivity analysis. In a project or investment, the data used at the planning stage are bound to vary and are therefore subject to risk. Sensitivity analysis is used to produce more realistic values, supported by a range of possible alternatives that reflect any uncertainty and provide some means of validity of the assumptions. Sensitivity analysis is carried out to identify the most sensitive variables affecting the project's estimated worth, usually in terms of net present value, in short NPV, or internal rate of return called IRR. Norris 1992. Sensitivity analysis is used to determine the effect on the whole project of changing one of its risk variables. The technique aims to identify the risks which have a potentially high impact on the cost or time scale of the project. A major advantage of the sensitivity analysis is that it shows the robustness and ranking of alternative projects. It identifies the point at which a given variable in the expected value of a cost parameter changes a decision. Then the range of the change for each variable is defined, and a picture of the possible range of minimum and maximum effects on the project's outcomes is gradually determined as each of the important risks is investigated. The weakness of this method is that risks are considered independently and without their probability of occurrence. There are several ways in which the results of sensitivity analysis can be presented. Most practitioners tend to present the data in either a tabular or diagrammatic form. However, if several variables are changed, a graphical representation of the results is most useful. This quickly illustrates the most sensitive or critical variable. Norris in 1992 and Skolexon in 1994 state that spider diagram of percentage change in variable versus percentage change in outcome value is the most popular means of expressing the results. Sensitivity analysis is usually adequate and effective for projects during the appraisal process when comparing options and for preliminary approval, where only a limited number of identified risks are assessed. Another technique is scenario analysis. Scenario analysis is the process of estimating the expected value of a portfolio after a given period, assuming specific changes in the value of the portfolio securities or key factors take place, such as a change in the interest rate. Scenario analysis is commonly used to estimate changes to a portfolio's value in response to an unfavorable event and may be used to examine a theoretically worst case scenario. As a technique, scenario analysis involves computing different reinvestment rates for expected returns that are reinvested within the investment horizon. Based on mathematical and statistical principles, scenario analysis provides a process to estimate shifts in the value of portfolio based on the occurrence of different situations, referred to as scenarios, following the principle of what-if analysis. Now, these assessments can be used to examine the amount of risk present within a given investment as related to a variety of potential events ranging from high probable to highly improbable. Now, depending on the results of the analysis, an investor can determine if the level of risk present falls within his comfort zone. One type of scenario analysis that looks specifically at the worst case scenario is stress testing. Stress testing is often employed using a computer simulation technique to test the resilience of institutions and the investment portfolios against the possible future critical situations. Such testing is customarily used by the financial industry to help gauge investment risk and the adequacy of assets, as well as to help evaluate internal processes and controls. In recent years, regulators have also required financial institutions to carry out stress tests to ensure their capital holding and other assets are adequate. Scenario analysis and investment strategy. There are many ways to approach scenario analysis. A common method is to determine the standard deviation of daily or monthly security returns and then compute what value is expected for a portfolio if each security generates returns that are 2 or 3 standard deviations above and below the average returns. This way, an analyst can have a reasonable amount of certainty regarding the change in the value of a portfolio during a given period by simulating these extremes. Scenarios being considered can relate to a single variable, such as the relative success or failure of a new product launch, or a combination of factors such as the result of a product launch combined with possible changes in the activities of a competitor's business. The goal is to analyze the results of the more extreme outcomes to determine investment strategy. Scenario analysis in personal and corporate finance. The same process used for examining potential investment scenarios can be applied to various other financial situations to examine value shifts based on theoretical scenarios. On the consumer side, a person can use scenario analysis to determine the different financial outcomes of purchasing an item on credit as opposed to saving the funds for a cash purchase. Additionally, a person can look at the various financial changes that may occur when deciding whether to accept a new job offer. Businesses can use scenario analysis to analyze the potential financial outcomes of certain decisions, such as selecting one of the two facilities or storefronts from which the business could operate. This could include considerations such as the difference in rent, utility charges, and insurance, or any benefit that may exist in one location but not the other. Another technique is probability impact grid analysis. When the impact parameter of a risk, cost, program performance have been established, a broad band rating system may be used to rank the risk based on the probability impact grid, called as PIG method, developed by Kolaru et al. 1996. The ranges of the impact bands are often determined at SBU and the project levels and defined in the risk management plans RMP. The most likely values for cost and program gathered during the identification phase are applied to the band ranges in determining the level of impact. For instance, low, medium, and high. The cost and program impact may fall into different level of severity for any particular risk. In this event, the worst case result is used for overall ranking. Another technique is value at risk, called as VAR. VAR is a statistic that measures and quantifies the level of financial risk within a firm, be a portfolio or position over a specific time frame. This metric is most commonly used by investment and commercial banks to determine the extent and occurrence ratio of potential losses in their institutional portfolios. Risk managers use VAR to measure and control the level of risk exposure. One can apply VAR calculations to specific positions or whole portfolio or to measure firm-wide risk exposure. VAR modeling determines the potential for loss in the entity being assessed and the probability of occurrence for the defined loss. One measures VAR by assessing the amount of potential loss, the probability of occurrence for loss, and the time frame. For example, a financial firm may determine an asset has a 3% 1-month VAR of 2%, representing a 3% chances of the assets declining in value by 2% during 1-month time frame. The converse of the 3% chance of occurrence to a daily ratio places the odds of a 2% loss at 1 day per month. Investment banks commonly apply VAR modeling to firm-wide risk due to the potential for the independent trading desks to unintentionally expose the firms to highly correlated assets. Using a firm-wide VAR assessment allows for the determination of the cumulative risks from aggregated positions held by different trading desks and departments within the institution. Using the data provided by VAR modeling, financial institutions can determine whether they have sufficient capital reserve in place to cover the losses or whether higher than acceptable risks require them to reduce concentrated holdings. There is no standard protocol for the statistical use to determine asset portfolio or firm-wide risk. For example, statistics pulled arbitrarily from a period of low volatility may understate the potential for risk events to occur and the magnitude of those events. Risk may be further understated using normal distribution probabilities, which rarely account for extreme or black swan events. The assessment of potential loss represents the lowest amount of risk in a range of outcomes. For example, a war determination of 95% with 20% asset risk represents an expectation of losing at least 20% one of every 20 days on average. In this calculation, a loss of 50% still validates the risk assessment. The financial crisis of 2008 that exposed these problems as relatively benign war calculations understated the potential occurrence of risk events posed by portfolios of subprime mortgages. Risk magnitude was also underestimated, which resulted in extreme leverage ratios with subprime portfolios. As a result, the underestimations of occurrence and risk magnitude left institutions unable to cover billions of dollars in losses as subprime mortgage values collapsed. Now we will discuss the country risk analysis. Country risk assessment was considered to be a new discipline at a premature stage with unclear boundaries and terminologies. Levy 1984. In order to support this argument, a comparison with sovereign risk and the political risk assessment was put forward. Sovereign risk assessment is the term normally used in the banking world to refer to the risk related to the provisions of loans to foreign governments, while political risk assessment is the technique used to predict the political stability and the non-business risk in conducting operations in the different socio-political environment. Notable research has been carried out in the area of political risk, resulting in commercially produced inventory checklists, specialized publications and quantitative approaches, which are based mainly on decision tree analysis, systematic Delphi techniques and other multivariate statistical analysis used to assess political risk factors, particularly in less developed countries. Given by Desta 1985, Levy 1984 stated that country risk assessment aims at the evaluation encapsulating the total risk, non-business alpha risk and business beta risk borne by a country which may influence the foreign investment. Techniques and frameworks to serve this purpose have been actively developed, with researchers seeking the most suitable system to extract and evaluate information. Blank in 1980 reported that the primary analytical method used to companies in a formalized country risk assessment process are standardized checklists, scenario developments, structured quantitative formats, statistical analysis, computerized investment models, and Delphi techniques. Many of these methods are also used by corporations investing in their countries of origin and are thus not specific to overseas investment. The country risk appraisal aims to identify all the external factors affecting an organization, resulting in a thorough assessment of the project's viability. The prevailing country risk assessment methods generally classify the risk component into three categories: political, financial and economic risks. Seeley 2001. Now, Levy in 1984 mentioned the scenario to consider the intricacies arising from socio-cultural differences when operating in a foreign country. Nagy in 1979 stated that in order to carry out the country risk assessments, it is imperative to have a good knowledge of the country's political, economic and social structure, including the individual and collective character of the ruling government. The legislative, institutional and regulatory framework is equally crucial. This may be ameliorated by familiarity with the facts and figures about past and current political trends that can be used in a logical and systematic manner to assess the possibility of events occurring in the future. Now we discuss political risk. Categorized under the political risk are political events that may affect the prospect of the profitability of a given investment. Hindle 1979. In the view of Gutman 1980, this area is of major interest to the companies in their investment decisions. This is confirmed by the fall of the Shah of Iran, which signified the dramatic impact of political event on all financial transactions. Many internationally founded projects were expropriated by the new regime. Invoices went unsettled and the local currency was devalued. The elements of political risk drawn from IBC USA's International Country Risk Guide in the order of their critically as quoted by Seeley 2001, combined with various other sources of the literature are government stability, socio-economic conditions, investment climate, internal conflict and military interventions in the politics, external conflict, corruption, religious and ethical tensions, policy systems and management of economy, law and order, democratic accountability and quality of the bureaucracy. Now we will discuss about financial risk. According to Seeley 2001, the essence of financial risk is concerned within the country's ability to pay its way, which includes the official, commercial and trade debt obligations. In practice, this covers a wide area incorporating all of the existing financial support system and the framework available to a particular country. The financial risk components include foreign debt as a percentage of GDP, foreign debt service as a percentage of exports of goods and services, current account as a percentage of exports of goods and services, net international liquidity as months of import cover, exchange rate stability. According to Goodman 1978, the financial risks are directly or indirectly associated with the net international liquidity of a country. A favorable condition is achieved when the foreign assets and liabilities decrease while the maturity increases. The measure of asset is obtained from the value of international reserves to imports, and the measure of liability is drawn from the debt service burden of the country under question. While Gutman in 1980 argued that among these financial indicators, the one related to a country's external debt, particularly debt service ratio, that depicts the current debt burden serves as the most relevant guide, an assessor should bear in mind the fact that the available information often excludes unguaranteed private debt, recent signed debt, and the due liability of the debt repayment of the current contract. As a refinement of the financial analysis of a country, Gutman in 1980 stated that the quality of its financial institutions is an essential matter. A country having a fundamentally strong financial establishment comprising an efficient central bank and a sound institutional framework is proficient in its debt management and international financial relations. Institutional support is valuable in providing stability for the financial performance in the event of political and social disturbance. The political, economic and financial risk of a country discussed above are the major areas that are closely related and are considered to have a substantial effect on the foreign investment. A systematic procedure to provide an early warning of risks should be developed to facilitate thorough appraisal, especially in view of the volatile international business environment. Organizational usage of risk management techniques. The following points summarize the results from a survey in terms of risk management techniques used at each level of the organization, developed by Myrna in 2003. The risk management techniques used at the risk identification stage are as follows. Number one, brainstorming is a very popular technique which is used at corporate and strategic business level. Checklists are very popular at the project level, with over 70% of targeted organizations using them. Prompt list or risk measures are a popular technique at the project level. Risk registers are used throughout the organizations. Over 70% of targeted organizations use this technique at strategic business and project level. Number 5, very little value management is exercised at corporate and strategic business level. Value management is primarily seen as a project level tool. However, the business case stage of the value management process is normally undertaken at the corporate level. The risk management techniques used at the risk analysis stage are as follows. Number 1, interviews are very popular techniques used at the corporate level. Value management is more project-oriented tool and not used at the corporate level. Probability impact tables are more commonly used at strategic business and project levels. Decision trees are seen to be project-level techniques, with over 60% of targeted organizations using them. Monte Carlo simulation and sensitivity analysis are seen more as project level oriented techniques. Now, most of the risk analysis occurs at the project level, followed by the strategic business level, and then the corporate level. The mathematics oriented techniques are primarily carried out at the project level. Students, we have discussed the choices of tools and techniques, both qualitative and quantitative, used in the risk management process that can be applied at corporate, strategic business or project level. The key features of the value management process and its applications have also been discussed. That's all for today. Hope you have understood. So we will meet in the next episode with a new topic. Till then, take care. Goodbye.